welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking closely at bone health, specifically osteoporosis, that condition where bones get thinner.
Right, and it's a big concern for a lot of people, especially as we age. Osteoporosis, well, put simply, it's when your bones lose their strength.
They get weaker.
Exactly. The material we're looking at describes it really vividly, actually. It says it's like the calcium, which is, fundamental for strong bones, it starts to get washed out.
Washed out.
Yeah.
That sounds quite dramatic.
It is. And when that happens, the bone becomes fragile and brittle. That's the phrasing used.
Oh, right.
Which means, and this is the scary part, a bone can break from something really minor, like a simple fall, or what the text calls a small, non-severe external physical impact.
Right, something that normally wouldn't cause a fracture.
Mm.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. What we want to do today is explore a very different perspective on this. This research suggests the root cause isn't just about getting older or what you eat. It points to something else entirely, something about how the body functions internally.
And because of that unusual diagnosis, the self-help methods suggested are also, well, pretty unique. They focus on surprisingly simple, everyday physical things you can do.
Okay, so where does this start? The first big claim, and it is a big one, is that this is mainly a women's health issue. Why is that?
Well, the core assertion here is pretty direct. The problem starts with, and I quote, the abnormal function of the ovaries.
The ovaries, really. That's the starting point for bone thing.
That's the claim. It's central to this whole approach. If you accept that premise that bone density issues actually begin with how the ovaries are working, then, well, the treatment has to focus on getting them back to normal function first.
That feels like a huge jump. Linking bones and calcium directly to the ovaries, what's the reasoning behind that connection?
The logic they use is comparative. They look at men. Osteoporosis is much rarer in men, right?
Yeah, you hear that statistic often.
So they point to the male equivalent organs, the testicles. The argument is that because they're external, it's physically difficult and complex to disrupt their normal function.
Okay.
And therefore, the claim follows, osteoporosis happens thousands of times less often in men compared to women.
So following that logic, because the ovaries are internal, tucked away in the pelvis, they may be more vulnerable to subtle disruptions. Yeah. And those disruptions trigger the calcium loss.
That's exactly the idea presented. It sort of simplifies the problem. Fix the underlying mechanism, the ovarian function, before you just treat the symptom of weak bones.
Right. Stop the washout at the source.
Precisely. If you restore normal ovarian function, the body supposedly stops pulling calcium from the bones. And they give three very straightforward daily practices to help you do that.
Okay, let's get into those. What's the first one?
The first method is all about improving circulation and reducing fluid retention down there. It's about restoring what they call the reflex of deep abdominal breathing. Belly breathing.
Belly breathing. Okay, not just regular breathing.
No, it's quite specific, and it's not just for relaxing. It's described as a therapeutic action. You need to do it for 10 minutes morning and evening.
Okay, how?
You lie on your back, put one hand flat on your chest, the other on your belly button, your navel.
Got it.
When you breathe in, you actively push your stomach out, lifting the hand on your navel. Hold it for about 4 seconds, then breathe out slowly.
And the hand on the chest.
That's key. It should stay completely still. The movement is all in the belly.
I can see how most of us probably breathe just with our chests, especially when stressed. This sounds like a good reset anyway.
It probably is, but the specific reason given here is crucial. The chest has to stay still. It focuses the action downward, activating those abdominal muscles.
And the rationale, why does this specific breathing help the ovaries and then the bones?
The claim is that this prevents swelling, fluid retention or edema in the small pelvis area where the ovaries are located. Even slight swelling there, according to this view, can immediately disrupt normal ovarian function. So this breathing helps normalize pressure and blood flow.
Okay, so breathing manages the internal environment, the fluid pressure. What's next? Targeted physical work.
Exactly. That brings us to the second method, direct massage.
Okay, massage where?
You find the area just under your pelvic bone, sort of in the lower abdomen where the ovaries are described as being located.
Right.
And you gently massage that area for about 5 to 7 minutes. It's very hands-on, meant to boost circulation and maybe release tension there.
Gentle massage, 5 to 7 minutes. Got it. And the third practice, you mentioned something about energy.
Yes, the third one brings in a slightly different concept. It's about activating what they call an energy center.
Energy center. Like a chakra. Some listeners might not be familiar with that. How do they describe doing this?
It's quite physical, actually. You locate the spot just above your pubic bone, right at the bottom of your belly.
Got it.
Then, using either the middle of your palm or maybe your folded fingertips, you rub this spot, they call it the second chakra, 50 to 100 times, always in a clockwise direction.
Clockwise rubbing 50 to 100 times.
Yeah.
And the purpose.
This specific action is claimed to activate the work of the ovaries. So it ties the more mechanical things, the breathing and massage, to an energetic boost for the organ itself.
Right, so you've got breathing for circulation, massage for local stimulation, and this rubbing for, well, activation. It's a package deal to normalize ovarian function.
That's the framework for stopping the calcium washout, yes, assuming you accept the theory.
Okay, so that's stage one, stop the leak. But what about rebuilding? Putting the calcium back into the bones. This is where, as you hinted, it gets really interesting and controversial regarding standard advice.
Yes, this is a major turning point in the material. It directly challenges the conventional approach, specifically taking calcium supplements along with vitamin D.
Which is very common advice, right? Calcium and Vit D together.
Extremely common. And they explain why it's common. Vitamin D is added because it helps push calcium into the blood. Calcium on its own isn't always absorbed well from the gut, you see.
Okay, that makes sense. But this source sees a big problem with that.
A huge problem. They issue a really serious health warning.
What is it?
The warning is this. If your body doesn't actually use all that calcium forced into the blood by the vitamin D, where does it go? It has to be filtered out.
By the kidneys.
Exactly. And the source claims, quite forcefully, that if you keep taking this combination long enough, that poorly absorbed calcium builds up and you'll eventually develop kidney stones. Renal calculus disease is the medical term.
Wow, that's a very strong claim against a standard recommendation. Are they saying all vitamin D is bad, or just specifically when combined like this to force calcium absorption?
It reads as a blanket condemnation, honestly. The advice given is stark. Do not drink vitamin D under any circumstances. They literally say nothing good will come of it.
Okay, so the message is clear. Avoid that combo due to kidney risks. That leaves a gap, though. If we need calcium but can't use the standard supplements, what's the alternative? How do we get well-absorbed calcium?
The answer, according to this perspective, is surprisingly simple and green.
Green?
Yes, greenery. Literally any greenery. Things like grass, leaves, even conifer needles like pine needles.
Wait, hang on. You're saying grass from a lawn or pine needles from a tree. That's the recommended source of calcium, not like kale or spinach, but just greenery.
That's what's written. It sounds wild, I know, like something you'd do if you were lost in the woods.
It really does.
But the claim is that these contain high concentrations of natural minerals that are easily used by the body if you prepare them correctly, and the preparation is absolutely key.
Okay, this I need to hear. How do you prepare lawn clippings or pine needles to get calcium?
You take about 2 good handfuls of your chosen greenery. Then you need a blender. You have to grind it down into what they call a uniform mush. They really stress this, not just chopped bits, but a fine pulp.
Why so thoroughly blended? Why not just chew it really well?
The reason given is you have to break down the plant's protective connective tissue layer. They say this layer basically shields the good stuff, the minerals. If you don't obliterate that layer, the calcium just passes through you unabsorbed.
Like a barrier you need to physically destroy.
Exactly. So once you have this uniform mush,
Yes.
you add a glass of water, give it a good shake, strain out any remaining solids or fibers,
Okay.
and then you drink 1 glass of this green water once a day.
1 glass of blended, strained greenery water daily.
That's the recipe.
So let's bring it all together. What's the overall plan?
The claim is that if you drink this green water daily for about 3 months, it can actually cure osteoporosis, rebuild the bone density.
Cure it. That's a powerful word.
It is. And they add that if you combine this daily green drink with the other practices, the belly breathing, the ovarian massage, the energy center rubbing, you tackle the root cause and replenish the calcium. So the problem shouldn't come back.
Because you've supposedly fixed the underlying ovarian issue and refilled the tank, so to speak.
Precisely. It's presented as a complete system. The message is really one of self-reliance, that you can use these completely simple methods to restore your health, focusing on your body's functions and using nature directly for minerals.
It is. Well, it's certainly a fascinating alternative framework. We've covered Normalizing ovarian function with breathing, massage, and rubbing. We've heard the stark warning against conventional calcium vitamin D because of kidney stone risks. And then this idea of getting superior calcium from intensely blended greens.
Yeah, it definitely challenges the mainstream approach, shifting focus from just supplements to um, internal organ function, biomechanics, and very raw natural sources.
So it leaves you, our listener, with a lot to think about. Considering these claims that standard calcium advice might lead to kidney stones, while blended pine needles could potentially rebuild bone, what's the biggest hurdle for you personally? How do you weigh these two radically different philosophies about health and decide where the truth might lie?
Definitely something to ponder. Until next time.